I'm looking for the number for the suck shit hotline because I want to fucking heat those suck shit.
To return the call.
G'day, punters. Welcome to the Deep Dive powered by puntingform.com.au. Jackson Oldham, welcome to the team, my man. How are you?
Good, thanks, mate. Thanks for having me on the show.
Oh, mate, you're as big a part of the team as anyone else. And tell you what, we're going a little bit better than the social media bloke at Betfair would be this morning. I mean, if it's not a pedophile, it's a protester. Their merch just finds a way to be stuck in some of the most awkward situations you've ever seen. And the my mail is that bloke's about to go as an online bookmaker. So the greatest game of all, there's always an angle and there's always narrative, and we squash the shit stuff and we just let the good stuff go.
That's a pretty good segue there, Dicko, because our merch is now online. You can head to the mailbag.com.au and purchase some merch. I'll be extremely pissed off if I see anyone at a fucking protest wearing our stuff.
There's all.
Would you?
Actually, Peter,
Yes.
can you please put a disclaimer? Put a disclaimer on the website, please. No pedophiles, protesters, or anti-vaxxers.
Yeah.
Good call.
The anti-vaxxers probably couldn't afford it anyway. Do you reckon?
Probably not.
I don't know, the vaccine's free, but never mind. Boys?
Surely they're better, like, as a whole, they're pretty dumb.
Yeah, as a collective. They probably don't have a heap of cash.
When you do the data, when you run the numbers, not a deep thinking group, are they? They're an overthinking group, yes. Deep thinking, no. I want lockdown to end, so I'm going to go and congregate and spread it.
Haven't seen many promotions from Betfair lately across socials or anything, but maybe a $300 account deposit if you get vaccinated, just in lieu of that grey hoodie wearing anti-vaxxer protester there. You know, I think it might just help offset, you know.
Staggering, absolutely staggering that that's why we should be running a fucking corporate, because that's how easy it is. There's your marketing campaign, isn't it?
Outstanding.
Roll up your sleeve, get a deposit bonus, bet with us. Vaccinate with us. Imagine that. They could have you roll through, you get a jab, you get a Ladbrokes account and a hat, just like you're back at the races.
Get a grey hoodie.
Have it, win a couple of times, and no, you're not allowed to bet on the footy. No.
Wonderful.
Now, before we start, guys, let's talk about Caulfield and the track, because firstly, I didn't realise that hard fence was lane 7. Secondly, I was sure that it was really hard to win at Caulfield from worse than midfield, especially in the back third, just about all day. Does anyone disagree with me?
No.
You're allowed to.
Why was it hard to win from the back third?
Because if you look at your puntingform.com.au sectional breakdown of the day, you'll see that almost nothing did. On Thunderstruck almost did, but he got winded when he tried to run through the only horse that was wider than him on the corner. He thought, no, I'm going to save that tiny bit of... I'm going to save that one width of horse and just go for that tiny gap, because there's no way that as they fan out on the corner that I might lose. No, I'm going to go for that hole, copper pounding, and then still find. Unbelievable. But nothing ran on from the back all day.
What about the last couple of races? They made a bit of ground, didn't they?
They made ground, but they didn't win.
Yeah, but that was also because after that Anavisto race, it was very hard to be sort of lanes 1 to 3. I'm calling lanes 1 to 3. You know,
It's so confusing. What do we call them? .com's put out propaganda, Goebel style, that the track was completely fair, and Anavisto led in lane 8.
Yeah, after that Anavisto race, they got a fair amount of rain, and the inside popped up pretty bad. So they were always going to swoop a little bit more those last couple of races. But as a rule, you wanted to be midfield or a little bit better.
Yeah, but like as Jago wanted to get off the fence and swoop, nonconformist settled 5th in run. Sierra Sue settled like 9th, 8th of a big fielders, midfield 3 wide cover.
Yep.
And Bella Nipotina was like just behind the front wall. 8th of a big field again. The track wasn't fair. There's nothing wrong with that either. That's like, there's just bullshit to say that. The track's never fair at Caulfield. Well, very rarely is it fair, and very rarely is a track ever like 100% fair. But Saturday it was it was Russian roulette with the wind and the rain, and it was absolute chaos. And if you were drawn a certain way in a certain race, you couldn't win. It's a fact.
Nice.
Okay.
Well, you pulled the pin at race 3, Pete, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. Well, I mean, obviously, I didn't do full form. I had some bets already on Thunderstruck. The only bet I had in addition to the entire day was dice roll, unfortunately, which just made things even more entertaining for me. But how difficult is it finding angles out of this meeting?
Almost impossible.
Yeah, I think it's a big case of do not force, because it is tricky. I think horses that made solid ground, and you need to check the replay and see they didn't have like an extreme amount of cover. You can sort of stamp. I think Mosh Music's Outside the Obvious was a really nice performance on Saturday, but each race as the wind changes and the track evolves with the rain and the wind, it's just like they're their own beast. And you can sort of have an opinion, I think, of like say the Rupert Clark, that wide and with cover was the place to be, because first and second were 3 wide, no cover. And I don't think Fred Kersley got near enough credit for that ride. That was really, really brave. Like his other option was to sneaking beat near on Thunderstruck, which he's never going to beat in his life.
Yep.
But the ride was outstanding, Fred. He is becoming quite a good rider. And D Moore, fucking like an absolute peach. Deserved a Group 1. Obviously, they both would have lost if Jai didn't shit himself on the corner, but that's a different story.
You don't reckon that horse rolled out on Jai?
Yeah, it did.
But if you're going to sneak to last, right? So, but basically, that to me, if we own that horse, right? That's taking all risk out of it. We want you just go back to last. Don't be extremely wide in the mid stages. Peel out and get around them and get into your work. We want to take luck out of it as much as we can. And then if you come to the corner at any racetrack, particularly Caulfield, you're either going to ride for luck or go around them if you're last in run. And you're on a horse that's $8.50 to $4. Why would you take the risk to save that tiny amount of ground? I understand if he's on like a $10 shot and he rides for proper luck up the guts and keeps the cover from the wind for ages. But the risk versus reward to take that tiny gap just to not go around Dalasan is, I can't figure it out, and it did my head in, and the horse should have won. And I think Mick Price sort of said that in a polite way on the camera. I imagine Jai got berated, and I truly hope he doesn't ride it in the Toorak, because it's an absolute fucking moral in the Toorak if it's ridden properly.
What price will it go up?
Is that at Caulfield? Is it Toorak at Caulfield, is it?
Yeah.
Yep.
The track's not fair. Oh, fucking hell. The track's going to Caulfield.
This horse wasn't suited, and if it didn't get winded and stopped on the corner, it would have won comfortably. He barely got time to whip it. It was going that quickly.
The race was lost between the 6 and the 4 when he ran the 13th. Whatever that is.
He hip and shoulder 2 horses.
Yeah. He was fastest 8 to the 6, then 13th 6 to the 4, and then fastest 4 to the 2, 2 to the furlong. Courtesy of puntingform.com.au. Because obviously the horse should have won.
Yeah, the race was lost when Amish Boy tried to come out in Poland, and Poland then comes out. I think Jai gets that run 8 out of 10 times, and it wins. And we don't even talk about the ride, but we're a results-orientated industry, obviously. So he didn't get the ride, and obviously should have won, but...
My point is, Jacko, 10 times out of 10, if he just gets into his gears a little bit sooner and gets outside of Dalasan, there is absolutely no risk.
No, I completely agree.
If he's drawn inside and needs to take risk, he needs to take risk. But when you're last at the 800, you don't need to take any risk.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. But Jai's also probably he's probably isn't in his mind thinking, we're $8.50 to $4. We should be winning here. You know, he's probably thinking, I'm on a decent chance in a Group 1 race. You know, I'm going to try and take that gap. So I can understand what he's thinking, but I obviously would have rather him just come out.
Yeah, but the only information he actually got from the trainer was that he likes to be outside horses.
Yeah.
So that was the last thing that went through Jai's head. It's like what Roden says: a foot taller, they'd be sweeping streets.
Yeah.
Seriously.
All right. Well, can we just get
And the difference between the best and the worst is fucking tiny.
Quick word on some of the other horses in the market. We're talking Probabile, Behemoth, Bo Rosser.
I thought that one of the more interesting performances, Jackson, was Asar. I kind of thought, like, why are they sort of persisting with this thing with its its pedigree and its profile? Because I think it's a stallion. But there's a pretty big run, and it looks like the horse is going really well.
Yeah, it ran really well. It's going to run well in a Group 1 or a benchmark 80 at Wangaratta. It just doesn't win, but it'll always run well. Probable, Behemoth, Bo Ross are probably all unsuited drawing inside of that part of the day. I thought Probable was entitled to run a little bit better with the run it got. I thought Behemoth was okay, but I don't really know where they go from here. I thought Dalasan was really good for further. Amish Boy was good. You can forgive Buffalo River and Groundswell. They were sort of up on the speed inside, both not suited, and the rest of them, they're probably just not much else to say out of the race.
Geez, he can run on until he's Carney Amish Boy. He did that in Queensland when he come up here and couldn't win here, and he's been doing it again. Last 2 starts. Just needs to find a fair track, eh? To get away from Caulfield.
Yeah, he does, Shane.
All right.
It would help his chances of winning a race, given his pattern, wouldn't it?
It's just those bad horses.
I think it's there's some
For
interesting
betting.
stuff going on though. Like Danny O'Brien is completely cast still. Why? I'm not sure.
And in fairness, you have been fucking cheering him to improve.
Expecting him to sort of level out to his like benchmark, and he was like awful at Geelong on Friday. Was it, Jacko?
Yes.
He had a stack of shorties go under. But credit to Ben and JD Hayes. Now, it was like everyone, the rats were getting off the sinking ship. You know what I mean? They were losing everyone, all their staff. Not many people left. It didn't look good. They're starting to put together some nice performances. Their horses are running big races. Asar's almost gone to a new peak here. I reckon they're going really well. I think Nick Ryan's an absolute superstar trainer. Like as good as we've got, and young. Like sky's the limit. And Bussin and Young are flying. Their horses are running good races.
Which is always a concern and a grey up for me.
And I reckon Mick Price is a little bit like a McChicken, isn't he? Like, he just makes you feel safe. If he says his horse is going super, it fucking normally runs pretty super.
He's the best. I love Mick Price. Like, if I was to be a trainer, I'd be Mick Price for sure.
I can't wait to see Dickens go through the drive-through next time when he orders a double Mick
Mick
Price.
Was Behemoth a bit stiff, Jacko? Was it?
Yeah. It was just.
Was it not going good enough to take the gap?
He was right in the ruck, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Big horse too, and
yeah, it just that wasn't his race, and the market was sort of completely against him as well. So he can improve next start, as can Bo Rosser, as can Probable on a bit of a drier track. Like I know this was a good fall, but there was rain sort of on the day and during the race, which Probable hates. So I think they can all improve, those horses in the market.
You're right with the market there, Kills. Like, he just held on to like favoritism versus Behemoth, Bo Rosser. But they both SPQs. The market, like, nothing in this race was back except for on Thunderstruck.
it was a fair drift, by Rosser, wasn't it? Like, they only, when they measure the VOP or whatever, it was 650 to 850. So.
Okay, let's have a look at some of the other races on the card. Look, the biggest performance on the day was Nonconformist in the Foundation Cup over 2,000 metres. Who wants to run through this?
12 out of 10 ride from Geordie Childs. Like this,
unbelievable. Like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah, and if I was on course, which I wasn't, I would have just been smacking this thing in run around the turn. Like, he just had a lap full of horse.
Someone was.
I wasn't. That's all I'm saying. But it was a great ride, and it did look his race. I was just greyed up with the Heatherly lead up. Like, it was a hard race to review because nothing ever changed, and they were sort of all coming out of it. And like, Nonconformist looked the horse, and we had it on top, but you just kind of, I don't know. It was a bit of a grey up race.
Yeah, it was like that, wasn't it? Like, the bot had something small, but we also backed a few others that way, and I wasn't confident with the map.
Yeah.
But so many times, and if you go back through your mind, how often do we say you need to be in the first 6 horses at Caulfield over 2,000 metres?
Yeah.
It happens all the time. But to map this race is really difficult. I reckon Charlie Rose is a good horse. So it copped a lot of wind. It looks to the eye, if you didn't know about the wind, geez, that's a great ride, Craig Williams, and it was a great ride. But maybe the wind played a bit of affected that horse a little bit. I think it went really well,
and it was another one that was rails and run as well. And
that's what I mean, copping the breeze.
And the market's loved it both times now this prep as well. So I think it's on track for something.
Yeah, it's a big figure for it. Yeah, and that Mosh Music out of this race I thought was really good. I think next start is its sort of time to shine.
Yeah, just out of the others, Heights Order was unlucky, was held up the entire straight. It can improve. Future Score, I thought, ran well for further. That's sort of about it.
Weird race though. Van der Clare's clocked the second fastest last 200 metres of the race, running near last, and looked pretty plain to the eye. And Miami Bounds run last by 10 lengths. It'll probably pop up and win some bog affected race somewhere.
Did you mention Port?
A killer, mate. Yeah, I got through the line nice. I didn't have much of an opinion of it. The market hated it at the Valley first up, and it ran just shithouse. And it was $101, but it got through the line really well, actually. So it could be. I assume it wants further, but it's on track for something as well. That's probably a good pickup, Curls.
Okay. You mentioned stealing just before. Well, what about Anthonisz? Obviously, congratulations on declaring it, Dicko, but looking at the data, it's a little bit nonplussed.
The data's underwhelming,
yeah.
And so was the bet amount, really, when you look back. We didn't have enough on. This thing was a fucking certainty, and it looks like every rider in this race thought the same thing, because they absolutely gifted it to John Allen. They walked. Maybe John went too slow, Jacko's thinking.
Yeah, well, it was 11 horses in the race, and he's run the 11th fastest from the 8 to the 6 and to the 400 as well. So
that's how good this horse is. That's the old mid-race slowdown, which should absolutely castrate a leader. Then there's the wind.
It's a classic.
It's just got through its gears. It was a fucking certainty.
Yeah, if he just keeps his tempo or gets rolling before the turn, or at the 600, he wins by 2 or 3 here, not 0.3.
I think it was just the right, eh? This is a classic mid-race anchor drop. Looking at the punting form data here, that's horrible.
And when you talk about I got a lot of messages about bumholes quivering as the gates opened. Curls just mentioned before the show that he was quivering about the 400. This is why. That sort of slowdown sets a leader up to get swamped.
Yeah.
Ecumenical, obviously you saw it, but the data's there as well. Ecumenical, it's run a faster last 200 because the wind should have been taken out of it chasing the leader. But he's just had it nice and cozy and got too close.
What about Star L? Blessed by the mid-race slowdown. If this thing went to this week, if you found out today this thing's gone to Nick Ryan, and it's going to be a rider change, it'll probably win the Melbourne Cup.
It was probably advantaged, as you said, but fucking enormous. And
huge for Danny O'Brien too. His horses aren't going that good. This thing's
M cart right on, so it's obviously not expected to do anything here.
Which could be a trainer error though. It was very good first up last prep. We talked about it on the show, Pete. I reckon. I reckon this is a fresh horse. I'm going to watch Star L closely the next 2 starts.
Okay. General Bow posted a big figure overall and rode against its usual pattern, so to speak.
I reckon there were a few nonnies just out with their tweet out, just ready to berate fucking D-Lane for snicking this thing. And probably rightly so who didn't win. That's what we do. But big change of tactics not announced, and then bang, pissed in. This race just made it even harder to have confidence to bet, though, because it's oh, fuck, now this thing's come from last. Yeah. What's going on there? What is the pattern?
It's just a confusing race. They've run a pretty big time, but I'm sort of not convinced any of these are any good. I don't know. It's very confusing.
Speaking of,
I think the leaders this race. I think you just got to not pay any attention to anything other than SP, because that fake love would have traded $1.02 on the corner,
Yeah,
John was just sitting.
Yeah, it's pulled up with issues, so that's probably why it's.
But I just mean, like, the race they just inverted quickly.
Yeah.
And speaking of races that are a little bit underwhelming, though, what about the 3-year-old races? The Group 2 1,000 Guineas Prelude and the Caulfield Guineas Prelude, races 3 and 4.
I'll take this one. They're all no good. All of these. They're all no good. I won't be winning anything. Lightsaber was like OSL and just like it's just like a grinding sort of probably 1,800 metre horse preparation. Alpine Edge was a touch on.
Oh God, it was good. It was heart and mouth stuff, wasn't it, Kills?
No, it was under the stick before the corner. It wasn't unlucky. It's not much fucking good.
Yeah.
And it wasn't unlucky, and it shouldn't have won. And I don't care. The horse wasn't going quick enough to push out to take a run anyway. Like,
I agree.
Thanks for joining us, guys. It's been a pleasure once again. End off.
I agree it's no good, but they're all probably slightly worse, these horses.
They're all no. I mean, it possibly, like, does anything improve at a mile?
Yeah,
Or
no, I think
that's the only question out of this race.
I think
what improves to the mile for the Guineas.
I thought we backed the right horse in Tim Son. Like, the market come with us big time. There's a massive steamer on the day, and like the way this race was, like they just basically came home as they went out. You know,
Yeah,
I think he's got some excuses. There's a lot of boxes that ticked as a horse you can sort of trust, maybe to Flemington and up in Troop.
Yeah, Timson improves over a mile, but I reckon it'll be in the autumn, not the spring.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
So what about
Obviously,
talk
most
about
days are going
SPs,
to
right? Talk about SP profiling here. Like, I've potted this horse pretty heavily, and it started 460. They are no good. None of them. If it's SP and 460, none of them are any good. I agree with Jacko. Jacko agrees with me.
Yeah.
Next segment.
They're all no good, and the other race is worse, so that's a concern.
So something from Sydney, please come down to win the Guineas. You like the Autumn Sun sort of thing, just sit 3 and 4 deep, no cover.
Yeah,
J-Mac standing in the irons at the 200.
A winner will not be coming through this race, I'll tell you that for nothing.
Yeah. And neither will J-Mac, unless he's got 2 vaccinations.
There's about $10 billion worth of prize money he's going to win in Sydney in the next 4 weeks. He couldn't give a fuck about Melbourne, I'd say.
Well, if they keep racing, I mean, 2 of them have already dropped.
Staggering
It's
management there by the team at Racing New South Wales, isn't it? The narrative management. If that was Victoria, you would have had racing industry journalists bringing the joint to a grinding halt. Not in New South Wales.
Yeah. Be interesting what happens over this next week, because if 3 or 4 more get COVID, then they're going to sort of run out of jockeys for one.
No.
And I don't know what, like, it's scary for them. I hope everything goes well, because, you know, we all want them to keep racing.
Absolutely.
All right.
And in the meantime, we'll just give Jamie Carr 5 months for having a party.
Yeah. Imagine if she got a stay of proceedings, we would have won on Thunderstruck. We wouldn't have got $8.50 though. We would have got $7 probably, but it still would have been a great bet. Jamie would have just cruised around the outside.
bring her back.
Pretty good rider.
God,
Your
I
week
miss her
ahead.
so much.
Yes, your week ahead's pretty interesting though. Down all the way down there in Victoria. You've got Kyneton Tuesday. You've got Flemington Wednesday.
Hang on, where?
Kyneton.
Kyneton. We've got Kyneton.
Kyneton.
Tuesday, which is actually where I was an extra on Jack Irish, guys. Watch it, season 4, episode 6. No, I don't know what episode.
It's pretty close to that actually. It's not too far off. I reckon you do know.
I was an extra. No, I don't. But I filmed it. Yeah, Jack Irish. I was an extra. I was basically an actor. Me and Guy Pearson, mate. Pearson, I'll call him.
All right. Headquarters at Flemington Wednesday, Cranbourne Thursday.
Hang on, did you say Flemington Wednesday?
Yeah.
I did say Flemington Wednesday. Headquarters for the. I assume it's the Derby and Oaks trial. That's the only reason they.
Yep.
Rail out 6.5 normally.
Rail's out 14. I just had a quick look. So
Chaos.
that was fun.
Yeah.
Oh, which means that they'll be coming down lane 32, according to .com. We've got Cranbourne Thursday. We're back under lights at the Valley Friday night for the Moya with Benalla and Coleraine as well. So 3 meetings Friday. And we've got Underwood Day at Ladbrokes Park, Hillside, Saturday, and Mornington Sunday.
Isn't it great to see Royal Sandown host the Underwood? I cannot wait for that Sunday.
And just thinking of like going to the Valley Friday night under lights, I just think I want jump. I want jump overlaying on the show right now, which gets me to my point that I've almost forgot. If you are interested in being the Mailbag's next intern, proper intern, email jack@mailbag.com.au with your CV, a proper application. Applications will close at the end of September, and interviews will take place the first or second week of October. You must be Victorian-based. You must have an idea about horse racing, which you probably do if you're watching this show, but also social media and editing of video content. jack@themailbag.com.au if you want to be the Mailbag's next intern.
Very good.
Because we sacked the last one.
We didn't sack the last one. He's on full-time wages now.
Promoted
Very good, guys.
Sorry, same.
Well, I just want a little bit of pizzazz, a little bit of seasoning on top of some of this gear. You know what I mean?
Bit of Ric Flair.
It's a huge week, though, of racing in Victoria. We're going to be betting so much. We bet 35 units last week, Jacko. We just had a half a unit loss in the end. This week will probably be like 60 to 70 units. There's bets everywhere.
Yeah.
Kyneton Maidens, beautiful. Fresh track, on pace. It's a beautiful track. Big fig tree. No, not what are they, Jax? They're not fig trees.
I don't know.
Willows, big willows along the river.
Yeah.
They're flame trees.
Heavy 8 with all this rain, it'll be shit. Anyway.
If any subs that are watching that get my stuff and Jack's stuff, you better put a bit extra aside because in Queensland we're betting Tuesday Bow Desert, Wednesday Doomben, Thursday Ipswich, Friday night Sunshine Coast. Saturday we're betting Toowoomba Cup with the Metro meeting, Gold Coast, and then Sunday Doomben. I'm hoping to squeeze in a fucking Melbourne Premiership amongst there somewhere.
Oh,
This could be one of the biggest weeks of my life.
amazing week for you. I hope they win.
So do I.
I hate Western Bulldogs.
Yes, anyway. Hopefully Peter gets a ticket to the grand final and takes a cardboard cutout of me with him so I can experience it.
I was actually just going to get a mask, a curly mask, and just wear that around. And then just create all sorts of mischief. Oh, no, I'm Shane Ciurleo, mate.
You'd have a fair few masks already, wouldn't you?
Please.
Under the bed.
Please make sure if you're wearing my mask, you face the CCTV cameras. I want to be on a Crime Stoppers ad.
Allegedly. It's last week at Belmont Park. We've got the Kalgoorlie round next week. So if you don't see me the week after at Ascot, I'm dead. Until then, punches, go well.
Bye for now.